Hey, Aloha! So, in this video, we'll talk about what is a healing crisis. I always forget to look to the camera. Hello, how are you guys and girls? So, healing crisis. What is a healing crisis? In Reiki treatments, basically, when the healing crisis happened on the first 24 hours to 48 hours after receiving the first session, and hopefully you will be receiving a whole sequence of 4 or 5 Reiki sessions minimum in a row, okay? So the healing crisis, it's when all the things that need to be healed will be addressed and come up to the surface. So it varies from person to person. A soft healing crisis is the person will feel more sleepy, tired. I'm talking about the first 24 to 48 hours after receiving the first Reiki session. It's often the case the first and second day, the person can have an emotional crisis, which is will just burst into tears. So much, you are suppressing, so much will come to the surface. So you may cry. And if that's the case, just let yourself cry, the tears wash our soul, just cry, whatever you have to cry. Something that I always recommend is to not be working in those days. I do not do Reiki. I do not do Reiki sessions. I don't do Reiki treatments to people who have to be on an ongoing basis of work, especially if they are not well, if they really need healing. If they are well, okay, but if they are not well, if their chakras are not well, they really need healing, they will need to rest, because Reiki will ask you to rest. You will feel tired. You will not feel to see no one. This is all part of the healing crisis. You will not feel to talk with people. You will not feel to be around with people in the first few days. You may be crying because all that stuff comes up to the surface to be healed, you may be sleepy, tired. Some people have body pain, Some people start to cough. This is like a normal healing crisis, not a big deal. An acute healing crisis is very rare to happen. It's really rare to happen, but I had this situation. One girl, I did this happen one single time in 5-6 years. One girl came, and this was the first day. And by the end of the first session, we were just talking, and suddenly she said, "I'm feeling really hot." My God, she got fever. It can happen. So, an acute healing crisis is fever, diarrhea, vomiting, coughing. These things can happen. It's really rare. But if that person, so in this specific situation, she was sexually abused earlier in her childhood or her teenager time, So how much was there to heal? Now I'm thinking about this client. Another thing, she was doing yoga and she could not fully open up her legs, and she mentioned that after the treatment, in the last few days, she was still going to, after the treatment actually, she was going to yoga classes, and she had much more opening on her hip area, because the hips, sexually abused hips, all this area was blocked, and she could then open up more in the yoga. It's really interesting. So this girl, for the whole time I was looking after her, she had fever. She really got vomiting, diarrhea, for the whole treatments. It was really but then she was so good. She was happy. We had amazing talk. She went up to Mysore, and she So I'm making the video in South India, right? And she went to learn this past life regression therapy. She ended up coming back here and she ended up doing that to me, so it was so amazing. So yeah, all these healing crises can happen. An acute healing crisis, which is really rare. I had another boy, he was living in Australia, so a big earthquake happened and he lost everything. He lost the house, the job, the girlfriend dumped him. Like, he was really messed up. This happened one single time with that specific client. I was doing the Reiki. This was the first session or the second session, and I normally have a big clay ball with water and salt in the place where I do the healing. And so he literally had to get up and vomit there, you know. He didn't vomit, but he was like, you know, making that sound of vomiting. I had no idea what happened to him, and only in the end of the session he told me, he shared with me what happened to him in Australia. So how much was there to heal, to take out, you know. So the healing crisis can happen in so many different ways, depending on each person, but don't be scared. These acute healing crises are really rare. What is more often is you feel tired, sleepy, emotional, crying, if your chakras are not well. If you are healthy and you are well, you feel good, and you just want to receive these sessions to empower your chakras, to make you feel even better, to maintain a good level of energy, then you will not feel emotional or anything. You just feel normal, just feel good, maybe more clarity, maybe more energetic, maybe more happy, but not big deal. The crying crisis and really tired happens to people who actually need healing. So yeah, that's much about the healing crisis. It's important to know this. If you are a Reiki therapist, it's really important that you let your clients know, or people to who you do healing, that a healing crisis might happen and what is the healing crisis. Because if the person does not know, and this person will receive Reiki from you, and then this person feels tired, drained, no energy in the first day, this person will think that you are sucking his energy or her energy, you know. And it's not true, you know. You have to explain what is the healing crisis. The person has to know what to expect with these Reiki treatments. You know, this is a fact, this is a reality, and if they want to receive Reiki, it's their own responsibility. This can happen. Okay? So that's all for today. This was a short video, only 8 minutes, yeah! So have an amazing day and have fun, enjoy your life. See you next time. Sayonara.